Hundreds of thousands of war vets still waiting for health benefits, from Randy Kay and Scott Bronstein, CNN. And they tell the story of Mike Rue, who has dealt with some serious injuries after his tour in Afghanistan, where he experienced firefights, and an IED blast specifically gave him a TBI, traumatic brain injury, and he's been dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, unsurprisingly. He's got vertigo, headaches, insomnia, nightmares, and the Department of Veterans Affairs is said that it is on track to process 1 million disability claims this year. And to think that this is the cost of the war and part of the human toll is only starting to scratch the surface. But 1 million veterans coming home needing assistance. With the war in Iraq over and the one in Afghanistan winding down, you got to love CNN's take there. The VA is sorting through a backlog of more than 860,000 disability claims from American veterans. More than a quarter of those vets, 228,000, have been waiting a year or more. Rue has been trying to get his disability claim fully processed since January 2011, shortly after he returned from Afghanistan. The litany of delays includes lost paperwork, long wait times for appointments, and erroneous lab results. At one point, a doctor prescribed him medication for a bladder infection he didn't have. He'd never even given so much as a urine sample. And I mean, I could tell you how I'd like to see this run, but one way or another, this is a fucking disgrace for the American people to say that we are going to send people to go defend us in a war on the other side of the world, and we are going to take care of them when they get back, and this is what they get for being taken care of. Because of his debilitating injuries, neither Rue nor his wife Maggie are able to work full-time. He said without his wife's care, I'd be in the fetal position. I'd be curled up in a ball. I couldn't do it. He can afford it. She can't. Couples healthcare dilemma. The Rues and their 23-year-old daughter, Alex, are now living at his mother's home outside Phoenix. Maggie and Alex share a bedroom while Mike sleeps on the living room couch every night. And you might say, hey, pull yourself up. But in the economy that's created in part because of the war policies, that's not exactly a feasible option for everybody. At 51 years old, he says that makes him feel ashamed. I feel low. How can I support my family, let alone keep a roof over their head so that my daughter can have her own room? My wife and I can't have a bed to sleep together. We're on couches. We sleep separate. That hurts a lot. I miss her. And the complications for personal relationships when someone changes as a result of their combat experience go a lot further than sleeping situations and what you're able to afford. Part of the problem, the VA said, is that many veterans are returning with severe and complex mental injuries. These veterans file multiple claims far more than ever before, and sometimes they file incomplete paperwork. Really, a veteran with a head problem is filing his paperwork incorrectly, and that's your excuse for not taking care of them. The backlog also increased when hundreds of thousands of vets were finally allowed to file claims for Agent Orange and Gulf War Syndrome. Last year, the VA said it paid out nearly $5 billion in compensation. Yeah, only recently did they say for those two previous conflicts that compensation was due for those particular things. Agent Orange, Gulf War Syndrome, yeah. 3 months ago, the Ruse finally heard from the VA about his claim it rejected coverage for his traumatic brain injury, granting him limited disability coverage that amounts to about $660 per month. Yeah, that's going to be enough, right? This, and according to Maggie, that is trademarked VA, that you get answers and then a different answer from the same building but a different floor or a different office, and the confusion that ensues is monumental. The Ruse are not alone. 2/3 of the 860,000 applicants have been waiting longer than the 125 days that Shinseki set as a goal for processing claims. On average, the VA said veterans wait more than 8 months, 256 days before their claim is resolved. Holy fucking shit. CNN interviewed 16 veterans for this report, all of whom recounted months-long waits to get a simple evaluation for their disabilities. Many said they had not received prompt help for serious mental health issues. One vet said he called the VA suicide prevention hotline, but was told they couldn't take his call, he'd be called back, and a return call never came. A situation the agency said should never have happened. Of course. And if you say it should never have happened, that's good enough. Right. Tommy Sowers, the VA's Assistant Secretary for Public and Intergovernmental Affairs, said the current backlog is unacceptable, and we know that, but This is a problem that has been decades in the making. Okay, then it's okay. If it's been decades in the making, it's fine if you're totally screwing the pooch here. We're transitioning from a paper-based system to an electronic system, and it is a huge amount. It is a huge undertaking and task. Because computers were just invented, and the VA is finally discovering this. Only a small fraction of the VA's regional offices have computerized their records so far. The vast majority are still tracking veterans on entirely paper files, a process that's not only slow and inefficient, but also requires massive space and numbers of files. As he said, we're moving from these mountains and mountains of paper, sifting through paper, scanning them, digitizing them, creating a secure environment where these claims can be moved through much quicker. Okay. Mike Grabsky is another veteran who knows about the problem. He ultimately got his disability payments, but it took him 2 years to get his full amount. As he said, it wasn't just the stress of not having the compensation, it was the stress of, is this going to happen? Or when is this going to happen? Or how is this going to happen? Or what's the next speed bump going to be? Grabsky left the Army in 2009 as a staff sergeant after 10 years in the service. He served 2 combat tours in Afghanistan and 1 in Iraq with the 173rd Airborne Brigade, earning 2 Bronze Star medals, but his service left him with a long list of injuries, including degenerative bone disease in both knees, asthma, hearing loss, and a mild traumatic brain injury resulting from exposure to constant explosions and gunfire. Grabsky was also diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, which he said has increased his irritability and affects his concentration. He formally filed for disability in Oakland, California in July 2010. It wasn't until after he received media attention for his plight that his file was reviewed nearly 2 years later. And this just shows you how fucked up the system is and how much better it could be by simply intervening on an individual case-by-case basis and saying, oh my gosh, there's media attention on this. Let's approve them. Well, maybe if we bring enough attention to this cause, we'll be able to actually change the system. And it's not too late, and I have the answer to this if the VA is willing to take some friendly advice from a veteran. After 21 months, the VA rated him 40% disabled due to knee injury, asthma, and hearing loss, awarding him $560 a month in compensation. Following new appointments to assess his brain injury and PTSD claims, the VA upgraded Grabsky's disability rating to 80% in mid-July. His monthly disability payment went up to $1,427. Finally, a barely livable amount. Critics told CNN that veterans have an expression among them that the VA's policy is delay, deny, and wait until we die. And we've heard that. That actually came from the Vietnam-era veterans. Asked about that complaint, the VA sowers responded, what I would say is that there are many veterans out there that love their VA care. Absolutely love it. And it's not about the people who work for the VA. Most of the actual healthcare providers take a pay cut to work for the VA, and we greatly appreciate that. And for the care that they provide, there are plenty of veterans who are very grateful. But Rue plans to appeal, back to Rue, the guy who got, for all of his injuries, $600-something per month, plans to appeal the VA's ruling against covering his TBI as a disability, a decision that could mean another 2 years of red tape. A VA doctor has diagnosed that Rue has a TBI, traumatic brain injury. However, some of the symptoms of PTSD and TBI overlap. As his wife Maggie said, we're all very aware of that, but this isn't only PTSD. She said she wants her husband to get the respect he deserves after he risked his life for his country. Quote, he could have been killed. Every time I spoke to him on the phone, I thought it might be the last time I hear his voice. Our relationship has had to take a hit. I'm married to a different man now. I love him just as much as I've always loved him, but he's different. They said they're not looking for a handout and want to work. We're not a charity case, and we're not looking for sympathy. We're angry about the VA. We're angry about so many things, including all of the other soldiers and veterans that are waiting longer than we have. So why don't we examine, for the VA's benefit here, for just a second, the premise behind the VA claim system. That if you are deserving of some disability compensation because you have been injured as a result of combat service, you have to demonstrate it, prove it, come into the VA, go through 3 different hearings, get all of the paperwork, go through this bureaucratic process that could take up to 2 years, and then maybe get your payment, and then maybe, if it's right, not have to appeal it and go through another 2-year process. You see a problem with this? We're talking about people who have served in combat, coming home, who need to be taken care of. And we can't trust them enough with what amounts to up to 100% disability payments of what, less than $2,000 a month? We can't trust them to say, yes, I deserve that. Here's the paperwork. Fill out a form and you've got it. And then maybe audit on the back end instead of audit on the front end? How about that shit? How about the VA have a little fucking respect for the veterans coming home disabled who need help when they say they need help, instead of saying, well, it could be a couple years and a fucking billion forms and we might fuck it up a few times, but maybe we'll take care of you. How about we understand you need help and we trust you to tell us that you need help and we're going to help you out. And there might be a couple people that game the system. There might be a few veterans. All you have to do is verify their identity. There might be a few veterans that claim too much, that have to be, oh, they got 100%. They really only deserve 70%. You think it's better to just help those veterans out and then maybe adjust downwards after you audit and then decide what their disability should be? How about we trust these men and women who we trusted with national security to tell us what kind of help they need and then take care of them and audit on the back end, not the front end, so that all of this red tape and all of the disability backlog completely goes away. Too simple a solution for a government bureaucracy, but who knows? Maybe they'll actually start caring about veterans. You don't have constitutional rights. You have natural rights.
Guys, critical. It's the blueprint of the nation.
You could remain a sniveling little bitch, hiding your insecurity